The All Progressives Congress calls for a state of emergency in Rivers State, says the state is at war. Nnamdi Kanu seeks negotiations with the federal government. And court denies Abba Kyari and 2 others bail. Outside Nigeria, President Cyril Ramaphosa, sworn in as president for a second term, promises to do better. Also, deadly explosions rock charred after ammunition depot of fire, killing 9 persons. Welcome to the program. This is Politics HQ. Tonight, the political crisis in Rivers over the local government administration tussle seems to be easing following the swearing-in of Caretaker Committee Chairmen for the 23 local government councils of the state by the state governor, Nyesom Fubara. This, of course, will be the focal point of our communication tonight. Thank you for joining in. I am Dakbo Adigboye, sitting in for Kofi Battels. Once again, welcome. The political tension in Rivers State over the local government administration tussle seems to be easing following the swearing-in of Caretaker Committee Chairmen for the 23 local government councils of the state by the state governor, Nyesom Wike. Now, the swearing-in ceremony was performed at the Executive Council chambers of the Government House in Port Harcourt on Wednesday morning amidst very tight security. Now, this is equal to their screening and confirmation by the State House of Assembly, and its seating at the same day. Now, Governor Fubara had sent the names for screening and confirmation on Tuesday, following the expiration of the local government chairman's tenure on June 17th, 2024. Now, all of this followed tension in the state as the ousted local government chairman insisted remaining in office following the expiration of their tenure, engulfing parts of the state in protest, particularly in these local government areas across the state. Now, joining me on the program to shed more light on this and broaden the conversation is Inko Tariah, as the former special advisor to the former governor of the state, Nyesom Wike. Inko Tariah, thank you for joining me on the program.
Good evening. Good evening, Nigerians.
Good evening. Let me start off with your reaction to, of course, the APC, which I did make mention as part of the headline, saying that the state, the federal government should declare state of emergency in Rivers State, given the outcome of all of the local government tussle we've seen recently. What do you make of that?
That is mounting pious irrelevance and sanctimonious triviality. It's a clear case of intellectual anemia. There is no need for a state of emergency in Rivers State. When you talk of a state of emergency, of course, certain steps or certain things would have happened for you to call for a state of emergency, especially when the issue of governance is made impossible or difficult. And we don't have such states in Rivers State. But you see, the truth is, they are calling for a state of emergency simply because they see it as a subterfuge, a way to remove the governor of the state. As you rightly said in your opening statement, you said there is some semblance of peace in Rivers State. Peace has returned to Rivers State. It's just the issue of inciting intifada by the detractors of the Rivers State governor, headed by the Minister for the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. I don't need to embellish facts. Those who know me will tell you I don't embellish facts. Because the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory himself said, shortly after the Supreme Court judgment that validated the election of Governor Nyesom Wike, said they will continue to cause problem in the state. The video is there. I mean, it's all around the media. The air is suffused with that vaunting, that boasting by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. And so otherwise, you see the tenure of the local government chairman, the tenure expired on the 17th. And the local government chairmen are insisting that the House of Assembly that acted ultra-virus, they didn't have the powers to so do. I'm not even going into the validity of the House of Assembly members, the 25 of them. I'm not even going into the validity of that. It has been subjected to the coercive legal machinery. So I'm not even going to that. I think by tomorrow, a judgment will be given on that by the Court of Appeal. But insisted, even when the Constitution prescribed 3 years, Now, if no election is conducted preceding the expiration of their tenure, it is simple. Concerned members will drag the state government to court. I'm not for sitting local government that they are going to remain of it because the House Assembly purportedly elongated their tenure. The elongation, which was invalidated by Justice Q, the Lord Justice Q, invalidated, declared null and void, which is also in consonance with the provisions of the Constitution and is consistent with the Supreme Court, two Supreme Court rulings.
In terms of the validity, I think the issue is still in court.
Sorry?
In terms of the validity of Martin Amaule decision that's on the appeal, it's still in court. But before I, of course, continue with you, I want to introduce the next guest, of course, on the program. That's talking about Gift Worlu. Gift is actually the former commissioner for housing in Rivers State. I'm going to come back to you in Inko Tariah. Please permit me. Gift, quickly, what is your reaction to the statement of the APC declaring a state of emergency in the state following the tussle within the local government?
Thank you for having me. Good evening. I would say that I'm not a member of the APC. And although I'm a keen observer of what is happening in Rivers State, and I can say that I'm a stakeholder in the affairs of Rivers State. If for nothing, I was a commissioner until about a month or so ago. And if not for the crisis, I probably will be one of those charting the course of development in Rivers State today. But if anybody is telling you that there is no crisis in Rivers State, there's no truth in that person. Because if there was peace in Rivers State, we probably would be here talking about policies, talking about programs of government that try to address the economic and other challenges that we face in Rivers State. But in the last 7 months or so, all you hear about Rivers State is one crisis after another. And then for anybody to come and tell you that there is peace in Rivers State, that person is not telling the truth. It's either the person has something to hide or he thinks that he's a beneficiary of the crisis.
So are you suggesting that the statement by the APC is somewhat valid?
It should be from their own standpoint. Like I said, I'm not a member of the APC. It depends on what they are seeing. You know, sometimes some of us are not able to see things and nip them in the bud. Other people are able to do so.
Should a state of emergency be declared?
If the APC thinks that what is happening in Rivers State today, and of course, the truth of the matter is that if you have your men on ground, and if anybody wants to speak the truth, as at yesterday, somebody died in Rivers State, a police officer. If there was peace, I don't see what would take the life of that police officer. Several other people have been injured. There is clearly a situation where people are fighting themselves. And then if somebody now thinks that to forestall a total breakdown of law and order, to avoid a situation of anarchy in Rivers State, which also has implications for the peace of Nigeria, that there should be state of emergency, I think it's something that we should not just shove aside. It's something that people should take seriously and take steps to bring about peace. You don't say that there is peace. My brother Inko Tariah saying that there is peace in Rivers State. He knows that he's not telling the truth. But like I said, maybe he's a beneficiary of the crisis, or he just wants to deceive the listening public.
All right. I think at this point I should give Inko Tariah some time to respond to some of the things Mr. Worlu said.
The statement by my brother Gift Worlu is tendentious. Tendentious in the fact that you asked a specific question. You did not just, it wasn't a blanket question if there is peace in River State. That wasn't the question you asked. And what I said was, it has been incited, the intifada we have has been incited by the detractors. And it is not right for anybody to call for a state of emergency in River State. Unless you're watching the events with John Dye's eyes, you won't call for a state of emergency in River State. Because there is nothing in River State that has not happened before, that has not been contained in every other state. Now, let us even take under advisement the issues. And that's why I mentioned, excuse me 1 minute, please. And that's why I mentioned the issue of the city minister, if you remember in my opening statement. Now you talk of the local government election, you talk of the expiration of local government tenure, because that is the whole, that is just the summary of whatever happened yesterday. Your tenure has expired. Some person said, why did you not conduct local government elections preceding the expiration of the tenure? That is not in question. That is not in dispute. The issue is your tenure has expired. You have no right whatsoever to spend even 1 second at the expiration of your tenure. Then if you even say the House of Assembly, that's why I said the whole thing has been orchestrated. If you say the House of Assembly elongated, a court invalidated that because it is inconsistent with the provision of the Constitution and inconsistent with the Supreme Court judgment. And I tell you that of Abia State, Attorney General of Abia State, 25 others, and the Attorney General of the Federation, and even that of Lagos State. As at that time, the president was the governor of Lagos State. And the Supreme Court said, you cannot, for whatever reason, elongate the term of certain local government chairmen. Now, even the House of Assembly acted, that's why I said it was ultra virus and ultra licit for the House of Assembly to even debate that, because only the National Assembly can amend that law. And unless today, the Supreme Court, because even, of course, by tomorrow, I think we are going to have a judgment on the validity of the House of Assembly member, and it will eventually go to Supreme Court. And unless Supreme Court reverses itself, only God can change that. And God will not come down to change our laws. That is the law. And it is self-executing. And even Q, the High Court judge, has said, no, it is inconsistent with our Constitution. Therefore, to the extent of that inconsistency, that law is null and void. My take is this. If you're not happy with the nullification of that law, you have the Court of Appeal to go to. You also have the Supreme Court to go to. But for you to say you must remain in office, even after the invalidation of that law, then it was what happened yesterday was a premeditated act with the intention of inciting the intifada. That is exactly what the problem is. And that is my take on that. Now, back to what my brother Worlu said. Like I said, you asked specifically yesterday, preceding what happened yesterday, that led to the death of a policeman, according to the police public relations officer, which I'm not impugning, I'm not doubting it. But if we had peace before preceding yesterday, we had semblance of peace, even as a probationary. And that's why I made reference to what the FCT minister said, that yes, but we will give them trouble. He did not say it in hiding. He said it openly. The clips are there. Even your station carried it.
All right. Inko Tariah. Inko Tariah.
Peace in the state.
Inko Tariah.
That's a one-off thing.
Inko Tariah, we will pick up. We will pick up from here. Inko Tariah, if you can hear me, we will pick up from here. We need to go on a commercial break. We need to go on a commercial. Okay, we need to go on a commercial. Okay, we'll pick up from your last point, but we need to go on a commercial break now. When we return, of course, we will continue our conversation. Please stay with us. Stay with us. You're still watching Politics HQ, and of course, on today's episode, we are discussing the recent developments in the state where the governor today did swear in new caretaker chairman of the state. And of course, the governor in a statewide address actually did, say that it's a temporary arrangement and that elections will still be conducted. I still have with me on the program, Inko Tariah is actually the former special advisor to former governor of the state, Nyesom Wike, and also Gift Worlu, a former commissioner for housing in Rivers State. Gentlemen, once again, thank you for staying with me. Now, I want to go to Gift on this one. Inko Tariah was actually giving us some sort of insight as regards the legality of all of this. I'd like to know your take on it, because we understand that sometime in April, the Rivers House of Assembly, led by then Martin Amaule, passed the local government amendment bill into law, despite the governor's refusal to give his assent. Now, the amendment did empower the lawmakers to extend the tenure of elected chairmen of the LGAs and councillors by about 6 months. Where it is considered impracticable to hold elections before the expiration of their 3-year term in office. Now, we are seeing a situation where the governor actually immediately, the tenure was over. The governor actually asked them to hand over power. And we have new people at the helms of affairs, even though the governor did assure the state that it's a temporary arrangement. I'd like to know, a lot of questions have come up as regards the legality of this. What is your take?
You see, illegality begets illegalities. First, you have to ask yourself, where was the governor when the tenure of local government chairman ended? And why did he not conduct local government elections to get democratically elected persons to man the affairs of local government? That's one. Number two, their tenure ended yesterday, and yesterday was a public holiday. You will expect that if there's going to be a change of guard, that the local government chairman will properly hand over the affairs of the local government to whoever, whether it is the head of local government or
but the local government, the former chairman, insisted on staying in office.
Please, allow me.
Okay.
They did not stay in office on a public holiday. Yesterday was public holiday. Do you agree with me? There's no, whether they said they want to stay in office or not. There are procedures for doing things in a civilized society. What stopped the governor from waiting until today, at least, and then directing them to hand over to whoever?
The governor did direct them to hand over.
But that wouldn't happen, because we have a governor and a government where there is an attempt to fuse the executive and legislative arms of government in Rivers State, and even the judiciary. That's what is happening in Rivers State. That's what the crisis is all about. So when you have a situation where a governor is working with 3 individuals that sit in the government house, not in the legislative building, making laws for him. He was talking about the governor rejecting assent to a bill, but has he accepted to anyone?
You said the governor is working with 3 individuals. Who are these individuals, please?
Has there been any bill sent to the governor by the assembly, even before this crisis, that he assented to? I worked with him as commissioner. We got sworn in. We started work, but he will not give us what we need to work because there is crisis. And that's why I'm saying that nobody should lie to the public that there's no crisis in Rivers State. Maybe the likes of Inko Tariah are waiting for when 1 million persons have died before they will call for state of emergency. Let me tell you, state of emergency is not something that is new to us in Nigeria. People declare state of emergency on education. People declare state of emergency on agriculture, and so on and so forth. We have not seen any such in Rivers State. Maybe because our interest is politics. If we play politics the way we are playing it, and we get to the point where state of emergency has to be declared, so be it. Because the truth of the matter is that it is not, like I said, I'm not a member of the APC. It is not about what the APC has said or not. The police officers in Rivers State, the entire security architecture, they will make their reports and send to the authorities. If they are convinced that there is need for state of emergency, it doesn't matter what Inko Tariah and myself say here, it will happen. But the truth of the matter is that, given the way things are currently in Rivers State, anything, including state of emergency, that will bring about peace, not the type of peace that he's talking about, the peace that is in his mind, not the peace that other people are seeing, will not suffice in Rivers State. We want peace in Rivers State. We want development in Rivers State. But what we have had since the present government in Rivers State has been excuses. It has been a state of arrested development in Rivers State. Actually, there is no governance, if you ask me, in Rivers State, or democratic governance in Rivers State, because we have a governor who sees himself as an emperor. See, as I speak with you, Governor Fubara became governor on the platform of the PDP.
I'm sorry to cut in here.
You talk about what the programs of the party are that he is supposed to ensure that those programs are carried out.
You described the governor. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you. You described the governor
and pit brothers against one another.
You described Governor Fubara as an emperor. But would you want to say that? I mean, why would you use such, a strong statement on a governor that was democratically elected?
Now, in a democracy, you will expect that the three arms of government that are independent, as provided for in the Constitution, will play their role without interference from one another. But what is happening in Rivers State is that there is clear interference in the affairs of the assembly. Don't forget that this governor, under his watch, the assembly building was burnt down. He has recently asked that some money be made available to rebuild the building. And that's a cost on Rivers people. And he has gone further to jettison 27 law members. The matter is in court. It has not been decided. Nobody has said that. The court has not said that these people are no longer lawmakers. But he has decided to abandon them and chosen to work with 3 persons. Don't also forget that before he did that, he said openly that these people are his boys and that they are people that he used to pay school fees for their children.
All right, Gift, I might just need to leave you for a moment. I want to go to Inko Tariah. I mean, please feel free to react to any of the things that Gift said to you.
Yeah, please. He said he's paying the... What of Nyesom Wike that said he bought the forms for everybody? Is that democracy?
Acting like an emperor. And that's what I'm saying. He's acting like an emperor.
I'm sorry, Gift. You might need to hold on for a while. Gift, please, if you can hear me, please hold on for a while.
And number 2, you don't expect a governor to deal with support public assembly members whose validity are in question. And you also have a court judgment by the NAGO saying they are not members. So this issue of there was no court pronouncement is mandatory. You also have that court pronouncement. Then, having said that, let us be honest with ourselves. When you talk of the House of Assembly members, yes, the matter they've appealed, I think the judgment is tomorrow. Until that judgment is given, and that judgment is in favor of the House of Assembly members, in the eyes of the law, they have defected. They are no longer members. And even the court that had made that pronouncement. So wait until the Court of Appeal tomorrow. If the Court of Appeal says otherwise, then you also have the Supreme Court. That is number 1. Number 2, you have a governor. You say the governor is a dictator. And I laugh. What is the whole genesis of this problem? Pestilence of Godfatherism. Somebody wants to control a governor, telling him even when to go, we're on air. Okay, put it another way, telling him when to open his bedroom door. And that is the genesis of the, and every spirit revolts at tyrant. That is just the genesis of that's the genesis of the whole problem. So if you cannot call a governor who even admitted and said he's ready to sacrifice his office and his life for peace, a tyrant, and extradite somebody and draw somebody who is imposing some draconian policies on the government, on the state. Worlu will attest to the facts. Although it is not an anomaly, it is allowed. But will attest to the fact that even while he was in ESCO, majority or almost all of them in ESCO were nominated. I will not say appointed because the appointing authority is the governor. The governor is appointed. Nominated by the FCT minister. And if Worlu will say the truth, as we on pop national television, directives were taken from the FCT minister until the crisis started. And that is a known fact.
Big lie. Big lie. Let me tell you, Mr. Inko Tariah.
Mr. Worlu, please, a moment. Mr. Worlu, please, a moment. Let's allow Inko Tariah land.
No, I'm done. Let him talk.
Oh, okay. Mr. Worlu, over to you.
Yes, like I said, it's all lie to say that the FCT minister was giving us directive in ESCO on what to do. It's not true. It's not true. And because of this crisis, I'm happy that he now agrees that there is crisis, because he started by saying that there was no crisis. But he now agrees that there is crisis.
I did not say that. I said the crisis of yesterday
is that the governor has never told anybody, not even the FCT minister has told anybody what the genesis of this crisis is. So when I see people go to town with something fabricated all by themselves and dish that to the public, believing that people don't have the ability to sift through those things and see what the truth is, I laugh. Where we are in Rivers State is that a man was supported by people to become governor by a party headed by the leader, Chief Wike, who is now the minister of FCT. The chairman of the party at that time was Desmond Akawo. The director of the campaign for Fubara for governor was Chief Felix Ogua. The local government chairmen that are today his enemies were directors of campaign in their various local governments. And then you had all the assembly members. While they were campaigning for themselves, they were also campaigning for the governor. You talk about the House of Reps members. They were campaigning for themselves and campaigning for the governor. Don't forget that there is no place where they do election for governorship election. It's done in the constituencies and the local governments.
Mr. Worlu.
And then, of course, you talk about the senators.
Mr. Worlu, I would like to ask you this very direct question.
I think that these people cannot be with him to decide how the state is run.
Mr. Worlu.
And that is why I'm saying that he is trying to act like an emperor.
Mr. Worlu, I want to ask you this direct question. If you can hear me.
And ensuring that the three arms of government are independent and doing their duties without interference. We won't be where we are today.
All right, Mr. Worlu. Please, if you can hear me, hold on a second.
They wouldn't want it to end.
Okay, please hold on a second. Hold on a second, please. I would like to ask you this question. And of course, we need to go on a break, but I'm going to ask you, and then when we return, I'll get a response from you. You described the current governor as an emperor. But my question to you is this. How would you describe the influence of the immediate past governor of the state, talking about the person of Nyesom Wike, and all of that is happening in the state, his influence and what he has termed the structure? You know, we also know that some PDP governors recently visited him, and he said no one should tamper with the structure. You know, he has made reference to that word, structure, countless times. What structure exactly, you know, is the former governor referring to? I mean, you'll give us a response to that after we return from this very short break. Stay with us. This is still Politics HQ on News Central Television. And of course, we are x-raying the recent appointment of caretaker chairmen across the 23 local government areas of Rivers State by the governor. And I still have with me on the program, Gift Worlu, the former Commissioner for Housing, Rivers State, and Inko Tariah, former Special Advisor to the former Governor of the state, Nyesom Wike. Gentlemen, once again, thank you for hanging on. Now, my question before we went on that break to you, Gift, is you described the current governor as an emperor. How would you describe the influence of the immediate past governor, talking about Nyesom Wike? And also the word structure, you know, the former governor keeps referring to. What exactly is that structure?
Now, the governor ran on the platform of the PDP, and that is the structure. And the leader of the PDP in Rivers State, yesterday, today, tomorrow, is the FCT minister. It was that structure and his leadership that made the present governor. Against the run of play, don't forget that this governor has never been a councillor, has never been a member of State House of Assembly. He's not been to the House of Reps or Senate. Some people get up to Senate before they become governor. But because the structure led by the former governor and guided by the former governor decided that he should be governor, we all worked for him to become governor. And so when you're asking me questions about the influence of the FCT minister, it was that influence that brought him to power to be governor. So you can't like egg and hate chicken. You'll be lying to yourself. Egg is a product of chicken.
But so would you also say it's usually the prayer of a father to bless, you know, the son or the child and allow that child fly, you know, and just, you know, explore?
Listen, when you want to allow your child to fly, you also have to think and ask yourself whether that child is an Absalom. David had a son called Absalom who rebelled against him. So when your son decides to rebel against you, what do? So it's simple. When the governor was sworn in, on the day of his inauguration, he was begging the FCT minister to please not get away from him, to please stay around so he can guide him. It is that guidance that we're talking about now, that he has rejected. He now calls him names. He used to call him Maoga. Now he calls him names. And some of us who know how he became governor, who know that even his nomination, my brother, I tell you something. Today in Rivers State PDP, we have people who are against Nyesom Wike, not because Nyesom Wike did anything to them, but because Nyesom Wike decided, with the support of other party stakeholders, that Sim Fubara should be governor. The likes of Austin Opara, my brother, the likes of Lee Meba, the likes of Uche Secondus, and so on. They decided to leave Nyesom Wike and his leadership because he decided that Fubara should be governor.
You use the word. I'm sorry. I still have to stay with you. I still have to stay with you, Gift.
Decided to abandon that platform that made him governor. That is what the structure is about.
Okay, now you use the word. You said the governor, you said the current governor became governor.
Who wants to make sure that he
became 1 minute
governor, that he has now abandoned.
1 minute, Mr. Worlu. You used the word. You said the current governor became governor against, in your words, the run of play.
The run of play, yes.
Yeah. What does that actually mean? Is that also part of the structure?
Listen, you want to expect that on a normal. There are people that they call hopefuls in a contest. There are people that you expect that can win because of their track record. This governor has never been a politician. He's a civil servant. He was the Accountant General of the state. He rose through the ranks of the civil service to the rank of Accountant General. He was not one of those people that anybody thought will even contest, not to talk about winning the election. But because of the instrumentality of Nyesom Wike, what you now call influence. Of course, leadership is about influence. If somebody is a leader, he has to influence people. And he influenced us. He influenced us to support Fubara to become governor against powerful forces. And some of these forces left the party or decided to follow another trajectory because of the emergence of Fubara. The same way that this former governor influenced us at that time to support President Tinubu. It's about influence. It's
all right, so let me leave you. Let me leave you for a moment.
It's in your best interest to do this, and we did. And
Mr. Worlu,
it turns out that perhaps we made a mistake
Mr. Worlu, let me leave you for a moment. Let me go to Inko Tariah now to get his reaction to some of the things you said, particularly when it comes to the influence of the former governor of the state, talking about Nyesom Wike. You worked with him before, and you know, maybe you might just want to shed a bit of context to this.
Well, like you said, the governor used its influence to coerce people to vote for Governor Nyesom Fubara, thinking that Governor Nyesom Fubara would remain a slave to him. The question many should ask is why, of all your political friends and so on, do you zero on Nyesom Fubara? That is a discussion for another day. But that is one burning question that should be on the lips of many. Now, this is the same person. You are talking to Nyesom Fubara is a dictator, is a tyrant. This is the same person who is vaunting that he bought funds for everybody. Is that democratic? Double. This is the same person that is saying whoever wants to tamper with the structure, he is going to do with that person, he's not going to agree with that person. What structure are you talking about? Are you talking of just a microscopic few? Or you're talking of River State as a structure? This is the same person who told the 25 former lawmakers, I call them former lawmakers unless the Court of Appeal says they are still, till tomorrow. This is the same who told them, go ahead and do whatever you're doing. And it was at that same event, he said, we are going to make things impossible for him. It's life. It was life, and you have the videos with you because you edit in your news story. So who is the tyrant there? Now, those local government chairmen that are saying they will not leave office, who are they loyal to? That is against the Constitution. Who are they loyal to? Whether he conducted an election before now or not is a different matter. I hope the clarity of what I'm saying will penetrate your minds and logic after your judgment. That is a different matter. You can take him to court for that. But your tenure has expired. The court invalidated the law that is also inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution and not in consonance with the Supreme Court judgment. That you cannot elongate the tenure of local government. Why did you just leave? Why? What gave them the gumption to say they will remain? And who are they loyal to? So who is the tyrant there? Okay, yes. Politics. I mean, what I'm talking about is about is a concentric circle of conspiracies and articulated interests. Yes. Out of 1 million, somebody must be chosen. And his preference was the governor, Nyesom Fubara. No doubt, no problem. We also agree that given the clout of these other ones, if Fubara had gone into that race with them, he probably wouldn't have had chances. But you also ask a question, was he also interested in the governorship? Was Fubara interested in the governorship? Why was he whittled into it? Why was he talked into it? These are questions we'll ask, and we're going to leave for another day. It's all about egocentric interest.
Okay.
Now, the man has emerged as a governor. Excuse me, please, let me finish.
Okay,
the man has emerged as a governor. We are not saying that a former governor will not have any influence on his successor if you have a cordial relationship, but not overbearing. And that is just the genesis. The president, the FCB says, I have said it. I will not allow my structure. Those who brought you cannot. What are we saying? That we don't have, you must act according to my dictates. I mean, it's simple English. I will not allow this to happen. I will not, and you have a sitting governor. This is something that the FCC will not brook from anybody. Did he take that? He was chief of staff to Amechi. He was local government chairman under Peter Odili. He said in court, in church, that apart from God, Odili is against God. That but for dealing with have won. He said it openly in church. What is his relationship with Peter Odele today? He was chief of staff to Rotimi Amechi. What is his relationship with Rotimi Amechi today? So what are we talking about? Because he could not prove. He would look. Governor Fubara has tried to tolerate a lot. He won't have, FCT minister, former Governor Wike, would not even tolerate half of what the governor of Rivers State tolerated. Let us be honest. We're not saying you should not have an influence. Why not? We're all human beings. You don't even need to be a former governor to have an influence. You don't even need that. Okay, Wike was the former governor, and so he exerted his influence, no doubt. But apart from it, there are also other characters, like you mentioned, other persons. The DJs, they will not have influence in a normal situation on the governor. But it should not be overbearing. And that's why I said, when you push a man to the wall, he bounces back with redoubled effort.
All right, Inko Tariah.
That because you assisted me, you financed my wedding, because you're my father, does not mean you're going to sleep with my wife.
Inko Tariah, we need to go on a quick break. We need to go on a commercial break. So please just stay with us. We need to go on a break. When we return, of course, we'll pick up from where we stopped. Stay with us. You're still watching Politics HQ on News Central Television, and I still have with me my guest, Gift Worlu, former Commissioner for Housing, Rivers State, and Inko Tariah, the former Special Advisor to the former Governor of the state, Nyesom Wike. Gentlemen, thank you for hanging on. Let me go to you, Gift, on this one. Now, in 30 seconds, the governor, in an address, to the state, and of course, after the swearing in of the chairman, actually did make some pivotal statements. He said that elections will be conducted, in the coming weeks, and that an audit should be, done, across the local government areas. Now, many are of the opinion that the governor is making some daring moves, more or less upturning the structure. Could this be the beginning of maybe the end of the influence of the former governor? In 30 seconds.
Yes, I'll tell you clearly. You see how, if you want to know somebody who has mischief, a governor that could not conduct election for over 1 year, suddenly at the point of inaugurating caretaker members, is not talking about election. You ask yourself, what does he want to achieve now? That's one. The other one is about the probe of local governments. As far as I'm concerned, it's normal. Local governments, people should give account. But what is the intention? What do you want to achieve with all of that? And again, before that, the governor said he was going to set up a panel of inquiry to probe the government of the former governor. He has not done so. So maybe he's a man who is given to blowing hot air. We will watch and see what happens in the coming days and weeks when he will set up the audits. And of course, the local government chairman will go there and defend what they have done in council. And the report will be made public. It's not, nobody should be worried about whether there will be audit or not, because I want to believe that the local government chairmen themselves knew that they were serving the public and they needed to keep their books. And that is why I was talking about the issue of handover. Now that they have not handed over, because you will not allow them to hand over, on the basis of what are you going to audit them? Because they have not told you what they did and what they didn't do. You just want to go and start looking into which book, for what purpose. And this is how emperors act. Sometimes they act before they think. So I will advise that things be done properly. And of course, we have said that there are court issues pending in courts. One day, somehow, those matters will be decided, and we will not all know where we stand. But as far as I'm concerned, the law of Nigeria is such that everybody is innocent until proven guilty. What we have in Rivers State is a situation where people declare that other people are no longer members of assembly, even before the court will say so, which means that they are guilty, waiting to be declared innocent. And that is not correct. It can only happen in an empire governed by an emperor.
All right. Let me go to you, Inko Tariah. What's your reaction to this?
Well, let me, for at least I agree with my brother, that, no, I mean, we should talk about accountability and probity. On that note, I agree with him. But the issue of without handing over notes, you cannot probe a government, I disagree, because you have records. The handover note is just a summation of what you've done in last year. That does not mean that there are no records of what you have done in your local government area. So you can commence a probe. A probe of the local government areas. I don't think there's any problem with that if you talk about a probe. He also mentioned the issue of the probe of previous administrations. The governor has also said previous administrations are going to be probed. I don't see why anybody should be perturbed about that. And even if he starts the probe now, or he commences the probe next year, it should be nobody's business. What we should concern us is the outcome of that probe. It is not when he starts the probe. It is the outcome of that probe. And don't forget that even the FCC minister himself probed previous administrations. Oh yes. Even under Amechi to probe, I mean, it's not a novel thing. So which I don't think Rivers or Nigerians should be bothered about whether they're going to probe previous administration or not. What we should concern ourselves with is the outcome of the probe. And why we are concerned with the outcome is if we find out there are incongruities, there are irregularities, then we call those who held that office to question. That is as simple as that.
Please, sorry to interject. Can you please tell us what the outcome of the previous probes?
That should not be an issue. As far as I'm concerned, that should not be an issue. The issue of a probe or no probe.
Sorry to interfere here. Can you tell us what the outcome of previous probes are like?
What the outcomes are? The previous ones?
What are the outcomes of the previous probes that you made reference to?
What do you know exactly what those things are? Well, some were swept under the carpet.
You said you want to do something because it's not novel and you have done it before. What is the outcome? So well. What do you know about the outcome of the previous probes?
What do we do with it?
What did you do with the outcome, if at all there was any outcome of previous probes by a
gentlemen?
By whoever.
That's the problem we have in this country. In most
gentlemen,
cases, probes are swept under the carpet unless you are the political enemy of the man that is probing.
So
gentlemen, I'm sorry, at this point we need to go. Gentlemen, thank you so much. We need to go at this point. Thank you so much for being on the program. Mr. Gift Worlu's former Commissioner for Housing, Rivers State, and also Inko Tariah, the former special advisor to the former governor of the state, Nyesom Wike. Once again, gentlemen, thank you for being on Politics HQ tonight.
Thank you, Papa.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
All right. And on that note, this, of course, is where we come to a close. In case you missed out, you can actually catch up on our YouTube platform. The handle or the name is News Central TV. I am Dakpo Adigboyi. Bye for now.